He's Chase Sr. I'm Harrison Graham. It's Any Given Thursday, every Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific time, live here on Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Spencer Rattler rumors are flowing, Chase, because it all started with the Red River Showdown when he got benched for freshman quarterback Caleb Williams, who put on a show in a 55-48 comeback over Texas in just an instant classic. But the drama in the storylines in the last, I'll say, 100 hours or so since that game have been flying in Norman. It's a truly wild situation.
Let me first start off by saying that's one of the greatest college football games that I've ever seen, and I was with Mitchell Renz, Marshall Green, guys here at Chat Sports. We were watching that game in downtown Dallas with probably a 50-50 split among Oklahoma fans and Texas fans. One of the greatest atmospheres that I have ever been a part of, watching a game not at a stadium. And I had said to Marshall earlier on in that matchup, wouldn't surprise me one bit if Spencer Rattler ends up getting benched, not just because of how he is performing against Texas, because of how him and the offense have struggled all throughout the year. And it all kind of came to a boiling point against Oklahoma when he was just putting forward a dud. 8 of 15, 111 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, but he threw a pick. He fumbled the football. He looked really, really bad. And what does the coaching staff do? You know, Lincoln Riley goes with Caleb Williams, a former 5-star recruit, who everybody's been talking about as the better quarterback. And I thought immediately when he came into the game, the entire offense changed, the mood of the team changed, and he came in there and made some NFL-quality throws. And I said, you know what? He's the much better quarterback than Spencer Rattler, and I can already know that and come to that decision after one half.
Yeah, this has been building up for weeks. I mean, we watched the West Virginia game a few weeks ago where they skate by at home against a West Virginia team who is now 2-4, by the way. They could not move the ball at all that night. Yeah, he was winning games, so Riley was like, well, I can't bench the kid. We keep winning. But then you're getting blown out by Texas, and Riley's like, you know what? I got to try and win this game. I'm going to my freshman quarterback, and Caleb Williams completely sparked the team. And Riley has really created unnecessary drama. Because what does he do after the game in classic Lincoln Riley fashion? He doesn't name a starter. It could be Williams. It could be Rattler. So here's kind of where we are with this situation. Williams leads the comeback, and then there was all kinds of rumors. Oh, Rattler missed practice. He was, quote, sick potentially. Other people were saying his locker has been emptied out. No, he was at practice. All kinds of conflicting storylines were circulating in Norman, but then it was later revealed that he missed Monday's practice due to that illness. I'm going to put it in air quotes, but returned on Tuesday. And then what really blew this open, Chase, was the Oklahoma student newspaper, the OU Daily, got a hold of Spencer Rattler's dad. His dad tells the paper, yeah, he was ill and that he was cleared to miss practice by Lincoln Riley and that he was going to stay with the program. But then Lincoln Riley is basically like, no more media access. We're shutting it down. No one else can be involved. I'm not talking to the media. Spencer's not talking to the media. Carson Cunningham of KOCO had this. OU football has canceled all media availabilities today. This was, I believe, on Wednesday. No reason given. No more media until after Saturday's game. So, really, this is on Lincoln Riley for not clearing the air. You know what you do? We love Spencer Rattler. He's done a lot for this program. We feel like Caleb Williams gives us the best chance to win right now. It's as simple as that. It's just that easy, but he won't do it. Now, here's the real question. Chase, do we believe Spencer Rattler's father when he says Spencer was sick?
No chance.
Type Y for yes.
Was he sick looking for transfer destinations?
Yeah, by sick, he was entering his name into the transfer portal, seeing which teams needed a quarterback next year. This is fake news. I mean, he was not sick. Now, I don't blame him for taking a mental day and just kind of regrouping, like contemplating his future, because let's be honest. Spencer Rattler is not going to start for Oklahoma on Saturday. It will be Caleb Williams against TCU. I don't care what Lincoln Riley says. The OU Daily blew this whole thing open with saying that Caleb Williams got most of the first-team reps. So he was not sick. We'll see what his future holds, but this has been an absolute nightmare for Lincoln Riley this week.
And for Lincoln Riley, he wanted the competitive advantage of the opposition not knowing which quarterback he was going to go to.
Patterson's,
if it was going to be Caleb Williams.
He's prepping for Caleb Williams.
Or if it was going to be Spencer Rattler. But now it's like the OU Student Daily lit this entire thing on fire. And they're like, you know what? We can see with our binoculars that Caleb Williams is getting the first team starts. Spencer Rattler's probably entering his name in the transfer portal. Good journalism work by the student newspaper at Oklahoma. Now, today's show is presented to you by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Maybe you can bet in the future on some Spencer Rattler future destinations or NFL games, NFL futures, whatever. BetUS is rocking everything. Chatsports.com/bet. You enter the promo code CHAT125. That allows you to get a 125% deposit bonus. So when you put $100 into your account, you get an additional $125 back. You can only get that deal if you use that link in that promo code that's at the bottom of your screen and on your screen right now.
So now the natural move now is, okay, who's starting? Well, it's Caleb Williams. Now, Lincoln Riley doesn't have to name him the starter. He can say, we haven't decided, but the OU Daily reported that Williams was taking most of the first-team snaps. I think he outsnapped Rattler 15-7 or something like that. He was practicing with the backups, Rattler was. Now, again, this is not – anybody who's covered college football and the Big 12 specifically over the last several years, this is not new for Lincoln Riley. When Kyler Murray was slated to be the starter, future number 1 pick Kyler Murray, Austin Kendall's been awesome. He could start. He's not starting. No, it was obviously going to be Kyler Murray. He's done this for years. He refuses to name a starting quarterback. It'll be Caleb Williams. Lincoln Riley is being soft. He's trying to create some made-up advantage that Gary Patterson is not going to buy into. By the way, Patterson responded by saying Max Duggan is questionable. I don't think Duggan's hurt in any way, shape, or form for TCU, so they're playing a little chess, but it's really fake chess. It doesn't really amount to anything whatsoever. Riley, Caleb Williams is your guy. If you start Spencer Rattler, you're a fraud, and you're not giving your team a better chance to win. That's just the reality of the situation. So what does Rattler do, Chase? Does he go pro? Does he transfer? What does he do? Because this is such a unique situation. This was the preseason number 1 overall pick, most likely, for the NFL draft. So what happens now? You and I agree that Caleb Williams starts. That's what happens for Oklahoma. But what happens for Spencer Rattler? I think that's the big question if you're him and his family trying to navigate his future.
It's been a precipitous fall for Spencer Rattler. As you mentioned, he comes into the season as the number 1 quarterback on everybody's big board, but I was confused by that because last year when I watched Spencer Rattler, I just didn't see a guy who was, 1, a team leader, 2, a guy who other people were going to rally around. Yes, he has good arm talent, but other than that, I didn't like his anticipatory throws. I didn't like his pocket feel or his pocket movement. I personally did not see him being a number 1 quarterback. So I think what's going to happen, Spencer Rattler is going to transfer or he's going to enter the NFL draft. Now, he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick like a lot of people had pegged him to be if he does enter the draft, but there is going to be some arrogant, some egotistical NFL scout or NFL head coach who's going to take a chance on him and say, he's got the arm talent. I can work with this kid to slow the game down for him and build him back up, and we can get this guy as the franchise of our team in the middle rounds, which would be obviously very good value. So who do you think should start for Oklahoma? If you're typing R, I think you're crazy. You have to go with Caleb Williams, so type your W's if you're a real one and if you're a smart one, because when Caleb Williams came onto the field on Saturday, I loved how the game was just slow for him. You could see him when Rattler was struggling, him pacing up and down the sideline. You could tell how badly he wanted to be in that football game. And when he did come into the game, Oklahoma's offense totally changed. I thought he made a couple of big boy throws. The accuracy that he displayed was very, very impressive. There were pro throws that he was making, fitting into very, very tight professional windows.
The 3rd and 18.
Back shoulder balls. Lofting balls into the end zone. You got to go with Caleb Williams. I think by far and away, he is the better quarterback, not just as a prospect, but for this Oklahoma team right now.
Yeah, and look, it's not Lincoln Riley's job to play the better draft-ready quarterback. It's his job to win football games in Norman, and I think that's going to be Caleb Williams. So we'll circle back to this. Where does Rattler go from here? What I would do, and I think we've got this L3, Jack, I would turn pro if I was Spencer Rattler. I'm not risking transferring to another school, struggling, and then my draft stock is dead at that point. I think if he went pro after this year, he's still probably a top 100 pick. Now, he's not going to go first round, I don't think, unless he lights it up at the combine or in individual workouts, but I think he goes pro, and even though he's not a first-round pick, he still probably goes on day 2 in the 2nd or 3rd round.
What I would do for him, if he firmly believes that he can end up being the quarterback that a lot of people expected him to be going into this season, I think what's smart for him, don't go into the NFL draft and be selected in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Transfer elsewhere to a coaching staff and an offense that's going to bring the best out of you, up your value, put up some numbers, win some games, and show the detractors I can actually play. So if I'm Spencer Rattler, I know it's hard to turn down the money and to turn down the bag, but I'm transferring to increase my value for then the 2023 NFL draft. Now, we did put together a list of some Spencer Rattler destinations. These are groups of teams and teams in general that we think Rattler could go to. Some pretty appealing teams on this list, Harrison.
Yeah, you go real quick one by one. LSU, they've got all kinds of issues. Max Johnson's been inconsistent, probably a new head coach next year, assuming Ed Orgeron doesn't rally. Could he be like Joe Burrow, transfer in there and play well? Notre Dame, Jack Cohen, he hasn't really worked. He's a senior anyway. They've got good talent. They could just use the quarterback. Penn State, Sean Clifford's backup sucks.
Yes.
So maybe if Clifford doesn't come back next year.
Taquan Robertson against Iowa was awful.
He was bad.
He was dreadful. He couldn't complete a simple 5-10 yard out.
If Clifford's gone, maybe Rattler could be the answer at Penn State. Ole Miss, Matt Corral is going to go pro most likely. And then Arizona State, Jaden Daniels probably goes pro.
I like him.
Producer Jack, real quick, thoughts on Spencer Rattler at ASU? Little Pac-12 after dark?
My hope is that Jaden Daniels stays.
For a senior year.
I don't think he will.
He should go pro. Soft QB class. I'd go pro if I was Daniel. So those are some potential fits. Teams they'll be interested if he enters the portal. But
the talent is there.
But again, this
hasn't been consistent.
The risk is if he transfers and plays poorly, then he's undraftable.
Tom Downey's burner account saying what Tom Downey had said earlier today. I'm not sure if they've been in communication.
This is more evidence that this is his account.
Get serious.
Can we get this super chat up during this segment?
Can we pop this up?
Yeah, let's pop this up here. Tom Downey's burner account says, "This has serious Christian Hackenberg vibes from Spencer Rattler." Does this confirm that this is actually Tom Downey running this account?
I think it is.
I think it does. I think it does. I'm just saying this is literally what he said earlier. One of two things. This is Tom, or Tom Downey's burner account has the office bugged. It's one of the only two scenarios. So those are some potential fits for Spencer Rattler. A lot of drama, crazy storylines going on in Norman, Oklahoma at this point. We'll ask you guys this question. What should Spencer Rattler do? Type T for transfer, type G for go pro. Go ahead and get your votes in.